If you roll your eyes every time someone mentions personal responsibility, if you genuinely believe that this world owes you something, congratulations. Your psychological age probably got stuck somewhere around 15, maybe 20, and it has absolutely nothing to do with your actual IQ. People think that growing up is an automatic process. You get your ID, you sign a lease, you pay your taxes, boom, you're an adult. Except it is a lie. True maturity is not about your bank account or the birth year in your passport. It is about how your mind processes reality. Millions of people look like functional adults, but mentally, they are still children waiting for a parent to come and fix their lives. And the easiest way to spot them? Listen to what they say. Today, we are turning on a linguistic lie detector. We will dissect 8 everyday phrases that instantly expose psychological immaturity. Watch out. You might hear these from your partner, your boss, or the person looking back at you in the mirror. Let's start with phrase number 1. It is not my fault. They made me do it. Picture a typical Tuesday. A project at work collapses, or a long-term relationship hits a wall. What does a psychologically mature person do? They look at the mess and ask, what was my part in this? But an emotionally stunted person cannot do that. For them, admitting a mistake feels like physical death. Their ego is too fragile, so their brain immediately activates a primitive defense mechanism: projection. It is always the toxic boss, the bad weather, the economy, or an unsupportive partner. When someone constantly uses this phrase, they are trapped in what psychologists call a victim mindset. It is a comfortable place to be. If everything is someone else's fault, you never have to change anything. You just sit there, feel miserable, and wait for a savior. Which brings us directly to the second phrase. I don't know, you choose. It sounds innocent. It looks like politeness, flexibility, or even love. You ask your partner where to go for dinner, what movie to watch, or how to plan the weekend, and you get this flat, indifferent response. Every single time. But with adults who have stalled development, this is not kindness. It is a desperate fear of consequences. Choosing a restaurant means taking responsibility if the food turns out terrible. Choosing a career path means owning the failure if it goes wrong. A child lets parents make all the decisions. An adult child does the exact same thing with their partner. They subconsciously look for a surrogate mother or father. Someone who will take the blame when life gets messy. Then there's the aggressive twin of that phrase. Number 3. What can you possibly do to me anyway? You see this a lot in traffic, in internet comments, or during heated arguments. A person deliberately breaks a boundary, looks you in the eye, and challenges you. It is the classic behavior of a rebellious teenager testing limits. According to developmental psychology, children need rules to feel safe, but teenagers fight rules to feel powerful. When a 40-year-old adult acts like they are above social norms, it means they never successfully negotiated that teenage boundary phase. They still measure their worth by how much chaos they can cause without getting caught. High intellect, zero emotional maturity. Let's look at phrase number 4. This one is subtle, but it cuts deep. I cannot be alone. It is too quiet. Have you ever met someone who jumps from one relationship to another without a single week of a break? The moment they break up, they are already swiping on dating apps. They fill their house with background noise, TVs blaring, podcasts playing, constant phone calls. Why? Because silence is terrifying for an unformed personality. When you are alone with your thoughts, you have to face yourself. A mature person has a stable inner core. They enjoy their own company. An emotionally underdeveloped person feels empty inside. They only exist when they are reflected in the eyes of someone else. They do not look for a partner because they love them. They look for a partner because they need a psychological crutch to avoid looking inward. But what if the issue is not about running away? What if it looks like extreme helplessness? That brings us to phrase number 5. I don't understand. Explain it to me again. Now, context is everything here. Asking for clarity is a sign of intelligence. But we are talking about a specific pattern. You explain a simple task at work. You write down instructions. You show them step by step. and 10 minutes later, they are back at your desk with the same blank stare. I don't get it. This is not a learning disability. This is a manipulative tactic known as learned helplessness. By pretending to be completely incompetent, the person forces you to do the work for them. It is a psychological test. They are checking to see if you will step into the protective parental role. The moment you say, "Fine, just let me do it," they win. They get the reward without the effort. Phrase number 6 is the ultimate defense mechanism of a fragile ego. There is nothing new here. This is completely useless. You see this phrase written under deeply researched articles, educational videos, or expert lectures. The moment an emotionally immature person faces information that challenges their worldview or requires actual mental effort, they immediately dismiss it. Nothing new. Next. This is primitive devaluation. If my brain cannot instantly process this, or if this information suggests that I might be wrong about something, I will declare it stupid. It is much easier to look down on the world from a high horse of fake cynicism than to admit, "I don't understand this and I need to learn." Children think they know everything. Adults know they don't. Now, let's look at how this plays out in relationships. Phrase number 7. I will just have whatever you are having. Again, it looks harmless. It looks like harmony. But when a person systematically matches your opinions, your hobbies, your tastes, and your goals, it is a massive red flag. This is a failure of separation. In early childhood, a toddler is completely merged with their mother. They don't have separate desires. But as we grow, we are supposed to differentiate. We figure out what we like, even if it makes us different from the people we love. A person who constantly merges with their partner has no idea who they actually are. They don't have a self. They just copy yours. And finally, phrase number 8, the ultimate signature of an unevolved mind. I didn't think it mattered. This is the standard excuse after a broken promise, a missed deadline, or a forgotten boundary. I didn't think it was a big deal. Notice the phrasing. It is entirely egocentric. It translates to, because it didn't matter to me, I assumed it shouldn't matter to you. The concept of another person having a completely separate, valid emotional reality is totally missing here. It is the exact mindset of a 4-year-old child who covers their eyes and thinks they have become invisible. If you recognize these phrases in people around you, it can feel incredibly frustrating. If you recognize them in yourself, it might feel uncomfortable. But here's the turning point. According to clinical psychology, catching yourself using these defense mechanisms is already half the battle. Unlike physical aging, psychological growth is a conscious choice. Our brains possess incredible neuroplasticity. We can mature at 30, 40, or 50. It all begins the moment we stop using words to hide from reality and start using them to face it. If this breakdown brought you some clarity, hit the like button. It helps the algorithm share this video with people who might really need to hear it today. Subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into building actual healthy adult boundaries. See you in the next video.